almost 3 years ago, I made a choice. I chose not to give in to the oppression and pressure forced on me by my own government. So instead, I chose to step into a new chapter of my life, one where I could be the writer and the warrior of my own story. I could fight for what I wanted. With that being said, let me give you a little bit of information about myself so you guys get to know me. I was 16 when, for the very first time, I came here in the United States, especially in this college, stepping to the classrooms. On paper, I was a freshman, like so many other freshmen who probably sat next to me and kind of became my friends. Eventually, I kind of started comparing myself to my friends, to my classmates and peers. And I want to be vulnerable and say that I deep down felt old. Older than my years, my peers, my friends. And it was then when I realized that I could not understand why they would talk about their favorite music, their favorite movies, what they want to do for weekends. I never had the chance to think so. So that situation told me that there was a huge gap between what I valued as somebody internationally coming here and what they valued. I valued something else entirely. I valued the chance to exist, to speak up freely, and to learn freely. With that being said, I would also like to ask you a question that I probably asked myself so many times before in my homeland. What fuels you to dream and to work hard to get to that dream? Maybe spend a couple of seconds thinking about it. Why would you pay so much money, especially put so much capital, go into lecture rooms? What is that reason behind? Let us sink in. To answer this, growing up the way I did, in a very young age, I realized that dream, hope, joy, they mean nothing. They mean nothing if I lived in a world where it was ruled with hypocritical, misogynistic government. It meant nothing if my future, my decisions, and my life was handed over to other people. But on the contrary, the good side, I also realized that dreaming matters. It matters to dream, to work hard to get to that dream. Believe me, no one could imagine that I would be here. I am the living example of that mindset that dreaming matters. It matters to work hard. This also reminds me of a very significant moment in my life, one where for the very first time I felt that passionate desire, that burning sparkle in my heart to make my own reality, telling myself, if it's not meant for me to do it here in my homeland, then let it be. I'm going to take the matters in my own hands and forge my own path. It's when my teacher asked us a very simple question. Who remembers Malalai? My young self, I immediately thought to myself, maybe she's talking about the warrior. So I said, Malalai, the warrior who said to carry the flag and cried out, if you do not fall in the battle, you will die in shame. That Malalai who said to rally the Afghan fighters in 1880s. she stepped forward to us, to her students, and she smiled. She asked us another question. How about Malola this time? Another voice answers louder this much. Oh, probably the girl who took the bullet, that Malola? Malola Yousafzai? She took the bullet for us so we can be free, we can speak up freely. And my teacher, she asks us another question. How about you? How about me? Your moms, your sisters, why can we not be part of the story? You know what happened? The room fell in silence. I never imagined I could hear anything louder than that silence. And here's the thing, in that silence lies the harsh truth, the absolute truth, that Malala did not take the bullet so she could just be a footnote. And Malala, she also did not, so we could whisper in shadows. And I did not survive just to survive. I survived to learn, to lead, to light a path for people like me, for girls especially back at home. And right now, standing before you, I see myself as a young Afghan girl. Somebody probably drinks too much tea and overthinks a lot. But do you know what other people see on surface? I've asked so many people this question. What do they think when they hear word Afghanistan? And every time, it's just repetitive answers, same answers. Poor, illiterate, uncivilized. And you know, it's just a wound. It's so hard to take it in. But what they don't see on surface is a country where the mountains, they raise as dramatically as its poetry, where chai is strong enough to restart everybody's soul, where women like my mother, carrying the weight of the world, they still had time to ask us, their kids, a simple question to show love, care. Did you eat anything? And it's really interesting to me because every time I try to talk to a new person, just sharing a little bit about myself, that I'm from Afghanistan, their eyes widen. That, oh my God, Nargess, how much do you know? Why do you know so much? Why do you speak so well? Why do you know how to read and write? This also takes me to the moment where they always told us that Afghan women, we are weak, we are silent, and that we break. But what they don't understand is that every time they try to bury us, they forget that we're seeds, and seeds, they grow. And here, before all of you guys, especially to my Afghan girls and Afghan women back home, I want to say, let them see us. Let them see how we learn, how we rise, and how we lead. They don't understand that sacrifice never dies or is buried. I would also like to borrow a certain character's rallying cry that speaks the same truth as mine, the harsh truth. They were not worthless. Their sacrifices have meaning to us all because we, the living, we refuse to surrender. And as we ride to our own battle, we trust that our inheritors, they do the same for themselves and for their successors. Because my women, my young Afghan girl, we do not sit still while faced with the viciousness of this world. We push ourselves, our boundaries. We scream our rights, and we rage against the disdainful. So now, I want to request something from you all. Let's give an end to this ignorant mindset of judging other cultures, other values. Start listening to people's story like mine. Don't just pass by saying that, oh, I'm impressed how much you know. Sure, it can be a compliment, but too repetitive. Let's educate ourselves before making any statements. I'm here right now, starting from today. I'm here to share my culture, my values, my story. Ask me questions about my history, what brings us joy, the Afghan people, about our beautiful and vibrant culture. Let's make conversation and progress one step at a time. Thank you.